you, Brother Maurice Mahan. I'd like to thank our educator for her update, Dr. Sonia Whitaker. Also like to say, continue the fight, Rev. I'm so proud of my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, having just got back from Korea. And now he is in Ohio en route to Michigan this morning. And this has been a very celebratory season, and we thank God. I want to thank the AKAs again for having given my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, a Lifetime Achievement Award. I'd like to thank the National Urban League last night, and this evening, the National Association of Black Journalists. I would like to thank them for recognizing my father and can appreciate them. My message today, and it will be short, as I see my dear friend, the Reverend Hall, as he continues to struggle with the recent passing of his father, a man that he cherishes and respects. But if you look at him from the outside, you would never know it. But here's a young man that felt as strongly about his father as I do about mine. But what gives him the strength to keep on moving on? And that's my message for the day. We have to bring our children to Jesus. Yes, it's important that we get ready for book bags and back to schools, and our children need to be ready for school. But adults, we also have to make sure that we engage in the public debate and the public protest and for our children, and let us make sure that the school is prepared to receive our children. What am I saying? It's not, and it's nice that they have a laptop, an Android or whatever. Make sure that you talk about the elected officials and all the good that they're doing, and talk about the churches and the good that they're doing. And he says it serves no purpose, and it is not a good thing to knock the church. And so I stand before you today and ask forgiveness, because I've erred and I've made some mistakes. When I look at what's happening with our children, we all have to bring our children to Jesus. At the end of the day, the worst church probably does more good than not having gone to church at all. And coming from the minority culture, the press is not quick to talk about the good that the people in our elected office and the people that are good in our church are doing. They don't want to acknowledge the protest demonstration that happened on North Lakeshore Drive. The question isn't the size of the protest that we had in Chicago on North Lakeshore Drive. It should be, how many of you have never marched? Bring your child to Jesus. Why have you never marched? I don't even like to use the term protest. What we know of civil disobedience in America really starts in 1849 with that of Henry David Thoreau in his essay on civil disobedience. And the heart of what he was saying is to participate in evil, to not fight evil is to participate in evil. To participate in what's evil. This is one common thread of humanity's brothers and sisters. What was he really getting at? He was against slavery, Mr. Henry David Thoreau. He was against the American-Mexican War. Why did that happen from 1846 to 1848? Because annexed Texas. Texas was Mexico. He was against the subjugation of Mexican people. Now we've got a senator in Texas and Mexican ancestry, and he has a slave mentality where he's against his own people, brothers and sisters. That sort of disobedience, because he wasn't Reverend Martin Luther King told us, if we are willing to suffer the consequences for in Jesus' eyes, why aren't we marching more? Applaud Reverend Father Michael Pfleger for taking to the streets at the St. Sabina community. That's the right thing to do. But he goes out every Friday, from whitewashing billboards that had alcohol signs to telling persons that were selling drug paraphernalia they cannot be in his community, in his parish, around his church. He owns that neighborhood. I applaud my friend Reverend Greg Livingston for going up to share the highlight of the pain that we're suffering on the South Side. I thank Mr. Tio Hardiman and Brother Eric Russell. I'm not against anyone that's man enough to stand up, show your face, not throw a brick and hide your hand. We've got to bring our children to Jesus. One good place to start. That's it. Do you believe it, everybody? I was standing here only because you made. Come on, say, perform miracles. There is nothing that's impossible. That's impossible. So I'm standing here. Hallelujah. Only because. Come on, everybody sing.
Support Rainbow Push. Small donation of $100. We're going to ask if you will support this organization by contributing $100 or $50. We're going to ask if you will stand right now. Better yet, I'm going to ask every one of you to stand. We're going to act. Reverend Wilson has told me that you don't have an Amen? So if you don't have cash, we accept credit cards. So we're going to act like we're at our local church, all the way from the rear. If you came today and will support this organization, would you please stand as the ushers will stand here to my left and right. Let us all stand. Let us all stand. Stand mean if you walked in here on your two, stand up on your two. And from the rear, and the usher will greet you at the corners. Come on, come on. Would you come on? Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for being for food on the. I want to say thank you. Hey, thank you for all that you've done us. Hey, thank you for being God that you are. Thank you for food on my table. I know you're able.
Thank you.
I want to say.
Now we want to make sure